And welcome back to a shitload of sports on the Muscle Sports TV network right here on YouTube. Joe Piataro being joined again in the wet spot, not the hot seat. This is MSTV, guys. Keefus, once again, joining.
And the wet spot is very, very wet today. I don't know if it's the crappy weather up in the Northeast or I don't know what it is, but the wet spot is soaked.
The sopping wet spot.
Yeah.
We also are running an Instagram Live. We want to give you guys, the MSM family, just a look-see into what goes on behind the scenes when we record these fucking episodes. And AL West, Keefus.
And it's the current world champion AL West. They're represented by the World Series winners, the 2017 Houston Astros. And I got to say, as a Yankee fan,
I still can't get used to the Houston Astros in the AL.
No, yeah, you're looking for days of Dickie Thon. You're looking for Cesar
Joe
Romero, Joe Negro,
Luis Pujols behind the plate.
Oh, not the Luis Pujols that was the outfielder with the huge glove. Not that Luis Pujols.
Yes.
Luis Pujols behind the plate. What about
the ugly rainbow uniform? Eighth wonder of the world, Astrodome, AstroTurf, Astros. That's the Houston Astros that I knew and loved as a young man growing up watching the Mets play them in the NL.
Fat Charlie Kerfeld?
Charlie Kerfeld, yes, the bespectacled reliever.
That the Mets had I think they had a bounty, the 86 Mets, against him. Because
he was headhunting a little bit?
He was headhunting. They didn't like his attitude, and I think he made comments when they all got collared at Cooters for fighting off-duty police officers.
Oh, yeah. That was a strange incident. I believe Neil Allen was one of the Mets that was...
I think Ron Darling. Tim Tuffle.
Yeah.
And it had to be Orozco. Orozco was always getting into some sort of trouble.
He's having a little fun, but let's get back to the present day.
The present day.
Defending...
Yes,
world champion
the 2018 Astros. I'm going to start off with their catcher, former Yankee, former Brave, Brian McCann. Excellent player, excellent clubhouse guy, good hitter, calls a decent game. Getting older in the years, but he's backed up by Evan Gattis, who is less of a defensive catcher, more of a power hitter. Very old school looking guy. Reminds me of what Jimmy Fox must have looked like with the big forearms and the short sleeve shirt. And, a little bit of a paunch belly, and just goes out there and hacks away at the ball. So their catch situation is pretty good, obviously, because they won the World Series. They were able to call great games for those awesome relievers and that great staff. Yeah,
McCann's a vet. Obviously, his best years are with the Atlanta Braves. A little bit of a disappointment as a Yankee. I know Greg Valentino is a big Yankee fan and was not a Brian McCann fan, even though when they got him, I said, you guys got a good catcher. This guy killed the Mets. But he was not that good with the Yankees, but he doesn't have to be a big-time run producer with this lineup.
No, he doesn't. No, he just has to call a good game, hit 20 homers, pop a few RBIs, and he's fine. And that's all they ask for with their talent.
Set up
first
a catcher.
Base, at first base they have Yuli Gurriel. Excellent young player.
Good postseason.
Great postseason. I mean, they're set for years at first base as long as they want to be and as long as they pay these guys.
Yeah.
Second base, the MVP himself, Jose Altuve. He's the Rey Mysterio Jr. of Major League Baseball.
Great comparison.
Small in stature but huge in heart and huge in battling. You watch the guy hit at the plate and you just, it's a modern day Yogi Berra. It's a guy like, what the hell is that guy going to do? And then he gets up there and, he hits the way he does. He's a great fielder, runs as good as anybody else, and drives the ball.
Big time ball player.
He's not he's not Bert Campaneris. He's not slapping the ball around and choking up on the bat. He's
power hitter.
He's a power hitter essentially.
But he could also be a single doubles guy too.
He could be a slash guy too. Yeah,
which is very unique, especially in today's game. Usually, everybody wants to hit the long ball. You don't have these guys that think about the extra bases and stuff. He's like a National League style
hitter, and that's and I think that's how he came up, because he had to be a jack of all trades at that size. be able to do everything anyway. And I bet you he could play all over the field. He's got a decent enough arm. If they wanted to move him over to third, later in his career, he could definitely do that.
Yeah. So they're set there. That right side of the infield is golden for this
team. Listen, the left side of the infield doesn't get much worse either. You got Alex Bregman playing third base. He's a quality player. Another guy who had a great postseason. And at shortstop they have a possible future all-star and MVP is in Carlos Correa. That guy, he's probably one of the most valuable young players in the game today.
Yeah. They have a lot of youth on this team. Now, a lot of people got to know these names last October because they went all the way. Mm-hmm. But they've been, they've made the playoffs before, but they were a really bad team for a number of years.
Yes.
So you didn't know a lot of these guys until they started to make runs. And last year, now these guys became household names.
Of course, yes.
Because of that.
Because of the World Series, because of their runs. And
they were just, very easy guys to root for, too. They were good guys, guys that you want to root for. They weren't hot dogs and stuff like that. So they're definitely, this team has a great young nucleus, and the infield is a perfect example of what this whole team brings to the table.
And I think Hinch brings it all together. I think he really does.
Manager.
I think he's the guy that brings it all together. And he'd been with them for a while, which helps tremendously. I think, you bring up the young players, you have the veteran guys that you add in pieces, and you see what happens. And who knows what's going to happen next year? But that's just the infield.
That's the infield.
And the catchers. I mean, my God, they still have the rest of the team, and we're already talking about them. Moving on and on.
How are we out in the outfield looking?
Right field, they have Josh Reddick, former Oakland A, who again did a great job for the Astros. Played well in the World Series. Quality outfielder, quality bat. Something that's consistent. A very consistent player for them.
Yeah.
Center field, they have George Springer, came through the system.
Big postseason.
Huge postseason.
What a center field this guy plays,
yes.
too. He breaks in on the ball, makes up he could play deep and come in and take a little looping hit away from somebody. He's very, very athletic out there.
He does. He's 5-tool. He's a 5-tool player. He's a 5-tool player. And that, they're set. They're set right there.
Yeah. Who's out and right?
In left, they have Marlon Gonzalez.
All right.
Marlon Gonzalez. The guys on their bench is for the outfield, Jake Marisnik. That's it, because it's Marisnik. I want to say Marisnik.
You would have done better than I did.
Marisnik and Fisher are backup outfielders. Marisnik they like. That I could see him taking Reddick's spot in the future.
Okay.
Their DH is usually Evan Gaddis. Mm-hmm. They also have AJ Reed. So as far as their offense goes, they're 100%
not that much
squared away.
Depth, but their starters are young, they're healthy. If they stay healthy, you're not going to need to rely on a bench as much.
No, their starters are great.
Yeah.
Very
formidable.
And again,
lineup.
they're an American League team now, so we're not talking about a National League team where they have to constantly do these substitutions. As much as they have National League players, they've built an American League team with solid hitting and solid defense. And their starting pitching. It
got better in the offseason, and it was great to begin with.
It was great to begin with. It got better. They have Justin Verlander, who people, were writing him off, essentially.
Yeah, a couple of years ago. Yeah.
A couple of years ago, writing him off, and he came in and had that tremendous postseason and a tremendous World Series, and, helped put the team back on. Essentially, I don't say put the team on his shoulders, because look at all that talent. You don't put the team on your shoulder. But he gave them that oomph to get over the edge.
Huge postseason, and he's married to a really good-looking blonde too.
What's her name?
Kate Upton. She has luscious boobies.
Do I know her?
Yeah, you know Kate Upton.
From last night. That's right. Last night I was perusing some pictures, and I ran into an Upton, and it was, it was Kate.
It wasn't BJ.
No, it wasn't BJ, and it certainly wasn't Justin. We'll get to both of them. But they're not blondes, right? BJ and Justin?
No.
So it must have been Kate.
Unless
all right,
they
must have been Kate.
Yeah.
They must have been Kate. Well,
but
thank you for last night, Kate.
Yes.
That was wonderful.
Justin Verlander, that was like, nobody expected that move when that was made. I mean, you kind of heard they were shopping him, the Tigers, a little bit, but I really never thought they were going to trade him. And I didn't think he was going to end up with the Astros. It was like kind of one of those wow kind of moves. And he really came to fucking, he earned his dough. in those
It
October
was a wow
games.
move because the Astros weren't the kind of team to make the wow move. That
They
was
had- they
reserved for
already
the
had-
Yankees and the Red Sox. And,
Plus, they already had good starting
and
pitching.
they did have good
already.
starting
Yeah.
pitching, but that certainly, was a great GM move and pushed them
Phenomenal
right
move.
over the top.
Yeah.
They have Dallas Keuchel,
Big lefty.
Garrett Cole, who they just picked up.
Garrett Cole was, with the Pirates. Obviously, his record's not going to be, great because the team was a subpar team he was playing with. But you put Cole as a 3-starter with this team. Not a lot of pressure on him. He's
Nope.
going to a team that's already won a title. 2 big arms ahead of him. He could have a huge season for the Astros.
And then the 4th starter is a guy who I dislike tremendously. That's Lance McCullers Jr. Because being a Yankee fan,
Lance McCullers Sr.
yeah, well, I didn't like Lance McCullers Sr.'s, and then Lance McCullers Jr. just kind of followed in his father's footsteps, beating the Yankees, and then rubbing salt in the wound when he did the thumbs down in the locker room when he was celebrating with the champagne. So
Okay.
hopefully there's a line drive back up the box with Lance McCullers' name on it. You shoot the shoes maybe and knock him on his butt.
Keith is calling for a bounty. We have Bounty Gate at MSN
Bounty
right now.
Gate. I'm not talking about a line drive off the head. I'm not talking about anything that's going to hurt him. Just maybe a nice line drive at the feet. Take him off his feet. Make him dance a little bit. No one's going to get hurt, but, make him uncomfortable.
Little out of line. You're a little out of line yourself,
Little
Billy.
out of line yourself. I'm not talking about a full whacking, but drinks are on the house.
Got this guy named Bats. They're breaking my balls about this
Breaking my
bastard.
balls
You know
about
anything
this
about
guy,
him?
Bats. Bats. It says his name was Bats. The thing over by Brooklyn.
Oh, we got to get it out of there.
Get out of here.
Let's get back to
Best blazer in movie history, that checkerboard blazer by Jimmy Conrad.
Oh, shit.
I hope De Niro saved that uniform.
Oh, fuck.
Oof. And they have Charlie Morton as their 5th starter, who's a quality starter.
5th starter, you don't expect to have great guys, and he's definitely can handle a 5th spotter role.
Their bullpen is, decent bullpen. Joe Smith and Brad Peacock are their middle guys, their setup guys, and they have Ken Giles. Not to
Closing.
be, confused with Brian.
No.
It's Ken. Is their closer. So the Astros, this should be their year to repeat.
No hangover?
The AL West. No hangover.
At least not a regular season hangover.
No, not a regular season. Not
No.
with Hinch.
Not with Hinch and not with the
not with
division, and we'll
Cole.
get to the rest
and
of
we'll
the...
get to the division.
It's a very second division type of division, using an old 10-team division,
Well,
phrase.
they're gonna have a challenge by this next team. I think that if there is another team to challenge them for the division, it's going to be the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, formerly the
California Angels, formerly the LA Angels in
LA
1961.
Angels, yes.
They've gone full circle and then some.
Certainly
because
not
they-
Charlie's Angels, though.
Definitely not.
No.
No.
Jacqueline Smith is nowhere near this roster.
No. And neither is Farrah because she's dead.
Yeah, that's a shame.
No. She was the greatest damn piece of ass I ever had. Now I'm all over.
My Kraut McFriend.
Okay. Oh, fuck.
Who the hell do they have catching? They started Martin Maldonado, who's a young player, over Rene Rivera. Rene Rivera,
Mets.
former Met.
Did well as a backup on the Mets. Started for
Yeah.
a little while because Darno just isn't ready to start a lot of games. Never healthy.
Yeah.
Rivera's got a lot of playing time the past couple of years over in the Mets team.
At first base, they're logjam with first baseman and DH types. They have Luis Valbuena, they have Albert Pujols, and they have former, as of recently, Yankee Chris Carter.
Oh, yeah.
So-
That's right. Carter was with the Yankees last year.
Yeah, I mean, Pujols is the best bat.
Can't
and
play the field anymore.
Can't play the field anymore, and because Pujols is not the age he says he is. Pujols has got to be closer to his early 40s to mid 40s.
His body is breaking down on him. He obviously was a juice user, so
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that a lot of it's taking effect now. That he's probably can't because they test better now.
Right.
And that's just my hypothesis. You know?
Well, I mean,
he looked it. I mean, I don't know.
when he came up at 21,
Yeah.
he looked like he was about 25. So add
Yeah.
4 years to what he is supposed to be now. So he's supposed to be
40 now almost?
no, he's supposed to be 38.
So he's 42.
So he's 42. So
Yeah.
second base they have Ian Kinsler.
Good bat with the Rangers for
Yeah.
years. Went to the Tigers and the Rangers.
Ian Kinsler is quality bat. Fielding, not suspect, but not great.
Offensive second baseman.
Yeah. Shortstop, they have probably the best fielding shortstop in baseball today, Andrelton Simmons.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Tim Foley.
No, not just. This guy,
Tim Foley.
Tim Foley, my God.
Oh, the glasses.
Oh, the Expos. Where have you gone?
Oh.
Where have you gone?
Grand Orange.
Le Grand Larange, who I said a prayer for last week, actually, but probably should have mentioned it.
He's sick, right?
In our previous one. He was, he's actually, he's been
Bad
battling
shape.
some kidney
It's a
problems,
shame.
and he's gentleman on any level.
New York icon Rusty Staub, we're actually
Le
speaking
Grand
of.
Larange.
Yeah.
Andrelton Simmons is a phenomenal shortstop, fielding-wise. Hitting, he's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Much like an Ozzie Smith. Actually, Ozzie Smith was a better singles hitter. But very similar in the way that they field. But Smith was on better teams. Simmons was on the Braves and now the Angels. So third base, they have Zach Cozart. Quality third baseman. He's been there a while. I don't think that he's an all-star, but he's he's solid. So it's solid infield. With players, the problem is they, at first base, there's always the question mark. Who's going to play? Who's going to DH?
Might be a revolving door, give guys days
Right.
off from the field. They'll put him at DH, have somebody else play first.
I think what's going to happen now is at DH, and let's go to DH, they have Albert Pujols starting, but they also have Shohei Ohtani, the Japanese.
Very interesting pickup for them.
Which was, does he pitch? Does he hit? Does he pitch and hit? They seem to be concentrating on just the hitting.
Okay.
But believe me, if their pitching starts to go down, they're going to probably, talk about, having him pitch a little bit.
I would love to see this guy do both. I would love to see him pitch a game and them not use the DH and have him hit. And then you could have the DH
a la
pinch.
Rick Rhoden?
Yeah. Have the DH pinch hit when he comes out of the game in whatever inning. For him and take over as the DH, and then the pitcher will come in. I believe that would be not breaking any rules. I don't think.
No,
it could be wrong.
I don't believe that it is. It's just
you could forego the DH and have a like you just mentioned. Yeah.
The other thing with him, and this is he pitched to a 3.5 ERA in Japan. What does that relate? Is that Kei Igawa numbers in the major leagues? I mean, or is that going to be respectable like Hideki Nomo? What are we dealing with him? And we don't know.
It's Hideki Arabo or Hideki Nomo?
Hideki Arabo, is he the fat toad or is he going to throw a
no-hitter?
So that these are all questions that are going to need to be answered. But he seems to have a very quick bat, a la Hideki Matsui, and I'm just comparing him to. We could have a quick bat like Wally Joyner did too, but I'm just comparing to other Japanese players.
Being racist?
Being that he's Japanese, yes, I am.
No, I'm the racist one. Shit.
So in the outfield, they have Justin Upton, Kate's brother, is playing.
Speaking about the Upton name, the family name.
Right field, Cole Calhoun, who's a quality player as well. And then the center field, they have the stud from Vineland, New Jersey, Mike Trout.
Trout fishing, yeah. Mike Trout is just been since day one. There was no surprise. Everybody knew when this guy was drafted he was going to be a great ball player, and he has not disappointed. Even though the Angels have not been a great team and have not surrounded him with a lot of protection, but he's able to do his job.
To do his job.
Production numbers
are there. He's protection for Pujols. And he's he was protection for Pujols. Now, actually, Pujols is protection for him.
Yeah.
Listen, he could technically win the MVP award with his numbers every single year.
Yeah.
You just don't know what you're getting out of him. Also, he goes balls out on every play.
Yeah.
That's something that you watch him play, you are always very impressed. There's no days off, there's no plays off for Mike Trout. And that's what's so great about letting your kids watch him. He's that good.
Yeah. He doesn't get locked up, beating his wife up and stuff like that.
No. The only thing that Mike Trout's going to get in trouble for is he's a weather nut. So he's the guy that chases like a tornado. Oh my God, seriously, that's who Mike Trout is.
Anybody do that?
He's into it. So I could see him getting sent to Kansas with Dorothy in a cyclone one of these days.
Fucking
because
red shoes.
he's going to be the Tin Man out there. So that's where Mike Trout, could have a problem. I'm being facetious, but that's where he's essentially what I'm saying is he's a good guy. He's a great face for baseball.
Yes.
But with all that being said, the fact that he does go balls out, the fact that he does not take off any plays, he can get hurt.
And he has gotten hurt.
And he has gotten hurt.
Yeah.
He could get hurt in the outfield. That's probably where he's going to get hurt, going to
the
wall, or coming in on
coming
something,
in,
or going to the right and left field, colliding with someone, like Dykstra and Mookie in '86. So Mike Trout, their starting pitching, Garrett Richards. They have Shoti Otani,
which we just spoke about.
Yeah, which you spoke about. Matt Shoemaker. Not Willie Shoemaker. We're not talking about horse racing here.
Not Angelo the Shoemaker.
No, not him.
We have that
not
in my neighborhood still. He's still there, old Guinea guy. Yeah.
J.C. Ramirez and Tyler Skaggs. So their starting pitching is certainly not their
there.
strength.
No.
They could win a few games. I think they could be above 500 if everything breaks right, everybody stays healthy.
No Burt Blylevens or Nolan Ryans amongst these.
No, and Donnie Moore is not involved this year, unfortunately.
Poor Donnie Moore. Jesus Christ, what a fucking disaster that is. How fucked up was that? Terrible. It's just so sad. Fucking Dave Henderson.
Speaking of 80s relievers, in the Angels bullpen, they have the son of Steve Bedrock Bedrosian, Cam Bedrosian.
Wow. Bedrock. That's a name from back in the day.
Their closer is Blake Parker. They have Blake, another Blake. A lot of Blakes.
Blakes.
Well, it is California, so.
And it is millennial time.
And it is Orange County, so. Yeah. Jose Alvarez and Kenyon Middleton. So their bullpen and their staff are not their strength, but they're certainly not a weakness.
Not a good team.
Not the best team. So
no, they're not gonna. They're under 500 in my opinion.
Next we'll go to the Oakland Athletics. Billy Beans, Oakland Athletics.
This is a team that every few years they come out of nowhere and surprise you. Looking over their lineup, I do not think this will be one of those years.
No. Ever since, I believe it was 2000 was the first year that they challenged the Yankees for the AL division. I think
the AL pennant, you mean?
It's not the division, not the pennant, the
division series.
Division series, yes. Yeah. And because it was essentially they had Giambi, they had Tejada,
good team
they had,
back then.
Eric Chavez, and they had the big three: Zito, Mulder, Hudson.
Oh, it was stocked back then.
They went for it recently when they went and got Jeff Samardzija, and
yes, they did put some money into the team.
They put some money into the team, and that kind of backfired on them. The players that they got didn't work out. So I think that they went back to the drawing board of Moneyball. So
gets on base.
Yeah, gets on base.
I never played first base. You can learn. I love that movie.
A lot of discrepancies in Moneyball. They never mentioned the fact that they had these great three starters in the year, and in 2002 MVP Miguel Tejada.
Yeah.
And Billy Koch was the closer. So they had a decent team. I mean,
Long
they made
Island
it look like
Billy Koch.
West Babylon guy.
Yeah.
So. Well, that being said, we'll go through the lineup for the Oakland A's.
You're not going to recognize
Don't be surprised if you don't recognize anybody, because I really didn't either.
This ain't the 73 swinging A's here.
No.
I tell you that.
That catcher is not, it's...
Can we pronounce any of these names? Will be the biggest challenge, let alone knowing who they are.
Bruce Maxwell is going to be the starter. Josh Flegley is going to be the backup. At first base, they have Matt Olson and Mark Canha. Second base is a name you'll know. Jed Lowry, former Red Sox. He's been with the A's for a while now.
I do know vaguely of him.
Matt Chapman is their third baseman, and their shortstop, possibly related to Trevor, Mark Simeon.
The recently traded Trevor Simeon.
Yes. Outfield is Boog Powell, no relation.
Which is, I still love it.
It's phenomenal, but it's no relation.
Yeah.
Matt Joyce is their left fielder, and Steven Piscotty. Not biscotti.
I was going to say, it tastes good. Yeah.
No, not the one that you dip
I
in
want
coffee.
one. I'm hungry now.
Their backup guys, and their DH is Chris Davis. Now, Chris Davis is their star.
Yeah.
Offensively, at least. I mean, he's going to strike out almost 200 times, but he did hit a lot of home runs last year for them.
It's going to be the AAA shuffle, this team, all year long.
Yeah.
I mean, they had like Josh Donaldson. They had names, but they couldn't pay these guys, so they had to get rid of them.
Yeah.
So... Yeah, that they'll be basement dwellers.
I think so. With the starting pitching of Kendall Graveman, Sean Manaea, Paul Blackburn, Jarrell Cotton and Danielle Megadun.
Folks, I ain't gonna lie. I have no idea who any of those 5 starters are.
And I'm a baseball guy, and I know that I've heard of them. I just don't know too much about them to say that they're going to be anything special. We'll see. They may be. I don't put it past Billy Beane to put a great product on the field and to have drafted and traded for excellent talent. But
that's still down in the system.
This is going to be. It's going to be determined this year. We're going to see.
Yeah. But they've had some lean years. This is going to be leaner. What they got in the pen?
Santiago Casilla, Ryan Butcher, Chris Hatcher, Yusmerio Pettit, and Liam Hendricks.
Yusmerio Pettit? Is that the same one that was a Met farmhand who went to the Marlins?
No, that was
remember that right-handed pitcher?
Wasn't that Glenn Pettit?
No, it was a Spanish.
Andy C. the Dog and Pettit?
No. We'll have to look that up later. Yeah. But that might be like one of those guys that took a flyer on, minor league deal kind of thing.
Right.
We got who's left? The Rangers. Not to be confused with the Blue Shirts. Right here in New York.
Not
Hockey Rangers. Rangers in 7.
And not the of the Scottish Football League, Celtic versus the Rangers, which is basically Catholics versus Protestants.
Wow.
Not
race
that.
war, religion war.
The only thing we don't have is a War of the Roses.
Not yet. Roses. Well. Yeah. That was a movie at one time, right? Bette Midler or some shit?
No, Kathleen Turner.
Yeah. Oh, was she the one in Jake LaMotta?
No, that was...
Who am I thinking of?
Who was that? That's
the hot blonde.
Yeah. And she was also in
Moriarty.
Yeah, Kathy Moriarty, yes. There you go. No, Kathleen Turner's Romancing the Stones.
You're a sick fuck. That's a sick fucking question. I ain't gonna fucking answer it. You fuck my wife? You fuck my wife?
Frank Vincent, Joe Pesci, and Robert De Niro.
On one of the fucking greatest films of all time.
Really
Talking about Raging Bull, of course.
Raging Bull hard.
Jake LaMotta. All right, what do we got for the Texas Rangers? Former Washington Senators.
Robinson Chernos is their catcher. Decent
Cherno know him.
Yeah. First baseman, you'll know Joey Gallo. He former...
the former mobster?
Yeah.
Crazy Joey Gallo.
No, the name should sound familiar. He's been in the league for a while. He's a quality baseball player.
Frank Rizzo.
Rovnind Odor. Now, you should know him because that's the guy that cracked Jose Batista when they had that fight last year.
Oh, I don't know him, but I know of that incident.
Had a great year after that. Really offensively, had an excellent year after that.
Maybe that spurned him.
Yeah.
Got a little ballsy. Aggressiveness.
Odor's actually a very good second baseman.
Odor.
Third baseman, future Hall of Famer, Adrian Beltre.
I never was a big Beltre fan. You're going to just give him the Hall of Fame on the home runs?
I'm going to give it, not even all. I'm going to give you a Hall of Fame on his Gold Gloves. I'm going to give his Hall of Fame on his average, 300 hitter, and on his consistency to be a quality all-star year after year after year. If you go to Baseball Reference, which is an excellent website.
Dash Reference.
Baseball Dash Reference. Yes. That's where I get a lot of my stats.
Great site.
Free plug for them.
Yeah, maybe they'll advertise. Yeah. We can buy beers with them.
I mean, essentially, it's an Excel spreadsheet, but it's done very well.
It's easy to get link to link. You're all over the place.
Yeah, you're right. It's excellent. They, if you break that down and look at his numbers, I mean, it's
I don't know them offhand. I just, subject for another show. Mm-hmm. I'm a snob when it comes to Hall of Fame incidents. I do not even feel that Gary Carter, who I was a huge fan of, even before he was on the Mets, I feel he is nowhere near a Hall of Famer.
Well, he went in with a 249, 250 average?
262 average. Well, that's a subject for another show. I don't want to go off topic.
We'll do
that after the preview.
The Hall of Fame brawl.
The watered down Hall of Fame.
That's our war. The war of the Hall of Fame.
War of Cooperstown.
War of brick buildings. Shortstop Elvis Andrews, excellent player, 2-time All-Star. Had a great year. Had his career year last year. Hit 290 something with 20 homers and 85 RBIs. Yes, he really is. Shake those hips.
The guitar man.
Outfield is Willie Calhoun, Delino DeShields, no relation, and no, that's actually a relation.
Delino DeShields was a longtime National League. he played second base, if I remember correctly,
Yes.
right? He was an infielder, middle infielder. He was on Dodgers, Expos.
The Dodgers, Expos, Giants, I believe.
He was on the Expos, I think, in that 94 season.
Yes, which we spoke about last time.
Yeah.
How I think the Braves would have caught them and beat them. But
That's a great point. So they have Delino DeShields. I mean, who else today? What was the other
Nolan
guys?
Mazzara, Shin Shu Chu is there.
Shin Chu Chu is still kicking around.
Yeah.
Former Chicago Cub.
Yep.
Outfielder. Never really got to where they thought he was going to get.
No.
They had a lot of, big prospect when he came up with the Cubs. Like, were they going to put him up and play him and start the season? And never really panned out. It's bounced around a little bit since then, but at least he's got some experience. I mean, they're mixing some young guys and some older guys.
And crossing their fingers. They have the ageless Cole Hamels as their starting pitcher, as their one.
Always liked Cole Hamels.
Yeah,
always did well against the Mets.
Well,
they don't
have a terrible staff. They have a very experienced staff at this point.
Okay, who's behind him?
Matt Moore, former Tampa Bay Ray, is their second starter. Doug Sister Fister is their third, who was a Tiger for a long time.
Fister.
Sister Fister.
Comes out brown.
Mike Minor is their fourth starter. And their fifth starter, talk about ageless.
Big, sexy.
The greatest at-bat
I love
that you'll ever see in baseball. Bartolo Colon.
Bartolo Colon is... Who would not want him on your team? He doesn't speak a lick of English, but he's a great clubhouse guy for everybody.
He's a great clubhouse guy who doesn't speak a lick of English that's been pitching in the major leagues for 23, 24 years.
But when he first came up with the A's...
The Angels.
Was it the Angels?
I think it was the...
Yes, he went to the A's later on.
Yeah, he went to the A's later on.
He won a Cy Young earlier in his career.
This guy is the opposite of cup of coffee. This guy, they can't tear the uniform
Can't
off.
get him. And he didn't do well when he got, he was bad in Atlanta last year. He went to the Twins, didn't do so good. But the year before with the Mets, a few years before, he pitched, I mean, they signed to a 2-year deal thinking he was going to get traded at the deadline that first year. They ended up using him for the 2 years and then re-signing him for one more.
Right.
And they wanted to get him back last year at the deadline, but they couldn't promise him a starting slot. They said he was going to be a long man and a spot starter. Minnesota said he will be a starter, so he went to the Twins. The Mets wanted to bring him back because they loved the fans.
And they should have brought him back because he would have done. There was a lot of injuries. They should have had him.
They should have given him a starting role.
He's going to age out. They're going to force him off.
62.
62 and a half. He's going to have to hit the door.
He might break Manny Mota's record. Right?
Was it Manny Mota or Julio Franco? Julio Franco's still looking for at-bats, and so is Rafael Palmeiro.
Oh, shit.
Their closer is Alex Claudio, just a journeyman that's been out of the bullpen for a while now with them. Quality guy, but not, he's not Aroldis Chapman.
No, he's not Jim Kern either. Going back
Jim
to
Kern.
Rangers. Past experience,
Jim Kern,
guys.
wow, that was the best beard in baseball for a long time.
Yeah, then he had to shave it when he went to the Reds.
Yes. But Jim Kern was the Goose Gossage where he would throw 147, 150 innings a year.
Actually traded to the Mets that winter. Never suited up for the Mets because like a week later got traded to the Reds.
Okay.
This is a good trivia question.
That is a good. It's like the Joel Youngblood getting traded in between doubleheaders.
And playing in two cities for two different teams.
That's
playing
right.
at Wrigley, and then he won.
San Francisco.
Was it San Fran for the Expos?
Yes. Oh, baseball! You can't make it
Oh
up.
my God! It's got such a fun history.
It really does.
All right, so I'm going to say this: with the Rangers, they're very far off from that really team that was so close to winning. They lost 2 World Series.
It
in
was
a
far
row.
off from that team when they would do this with see the camera can hit me when they would when was it Ron Washington's team? They would do that claw.
Yeah.
They went to the World Series twice with that.
Yes,
Yeah.
and they lost in heartbreaking fashion too.
Yes.
That one of them. They
I believe those to the Giants.
Yeah, and they were just. They were close, but they had a completely different team. They had some boppers on that team.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Josh
They had,
Hamilton and...
what's his name was on them? Was it Fielder was on them for one? He may have been after that run.
That was
got
after
him
that
for
run.
Kinsler, yeah. But, yeah, they had Hamilton was good. They had, they just had a lot of... Beltray was hitting a lot of homers.
Yeah.
But very different team. But because the division is so weak, I see Texas as being a default second-place team in this division. Nowhere near a wild card run. they may be one of those teams you see at the back end of the wild card list, like in August somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's Houston and the Angels league to win.
Yeah.
That's going to be the 1-2. They'll be third, but a little bit further behind.
Yeah.
And then you'll have the A's and Seattle, which we haven't done yet.
I was about to say we have another team. I just thought about it.
Yeah, we have to do Seattle.
Seattle Mariners.
That's how forgettable they are, unfortunately, this year.
They still got the king, though.
Yeah, they have. And see, here's the weird thing with Seattle, and we'll obviously get to them right now. It's catcher is Mike Zunino. They have 4 guys that they like at catcher, but Zunino seems to be the not Richie Zisk. Zunino, a new Z-man is in town in Seattle.
Zisk, big hitter for the Rangers, White Sox.
Yeah. Ryan Healy's Ryan Healy's going to be playing first base. Now here's his I think Seattle's problem at second base. They have my boy Robinson Cano, probably going to the Hall of Fame with the way he hits, especially if he keeps it up. I think what Seattle did was they saw what happened when they lost Griffey and they lost A-Rod.
Yeah.
If they had kept those 2 guys plus Edgar Martinez, they would have broke the bank. Who knows what would have happened, but they probably would have went on a run and maybe dethroned the Yankees at some point in the late 80s, late 90s, early 2000s. They didn't spend the money. They took a dip.
Yeah.
Okay? So, they went out. They spent everything I think they had on Robinson Cano.
They threw buckets of money
and now what the result has been
big deal.
A big deal, yeah.
I mean, he's going to hit.
Yeah,
but there's nothing else.
But he's not even close to hitting what he was at Yankee Stadium.
Well, he doesn't have the guys in front of him either on base. Right. You know, I mean, so it's hard to produce runs when you're hitting nobody's on base every time.
The left side of their infield is pretty solid. Kyle Seager and Gene Segura. They're pretty. Kyle Seager is Corey Seager's brother from the Dodgers, and Gene Segura, who's been on the team for a while. So I mean, they're pretty solid players.
Yeah,
but they're not gonna, they're not gonna like the world on fire.
No.
Guillermo Heredia's in left field, still knocking around.
That guy has been around for a long time. Yeah.
D. Goddard still knocking around is in center field. Yep,
yeah,
Mullins
did well. Slapped that ball against the Mets up the middle every time.
Mitch Haniger's playing right field, and they have Nelson Cruz, who's their big bopper, as the DH.
So not bad in the outfield and designated hitter. They're gonna get some runs. They're gonna get some. They're gonna have some production out of those guys. Not a terrible outfield, but not really not game breakers either.
Sure.
So what do we got in the pitching?
In the staff, they have James Paxton, Felix Hernandez, Mike Leake, Erasmo Ramirez, and Marco Gonzalez. The 1-2 are excellent, Paxton and Hernandez.
Drop off after that.
And it's a pretty big drop off after that. They have Edwin Diaz penciled in as the closer. However, in their pen, they do have David Phelps, who I could see popping into that spot. Their pen is actually really good. They have James Pazos as a quality. Mike Rizpinski. It's pronounced Rizpinski, but it's spelled with Z's and C's and Y's and Z's. Yeah. Nick Vincent and Juan Nicasio. So they have a decent bullpen. So someone, if Edwin Diaz doesn't, pan out as a closer, they have someone else to come in there.
Somebody can go into the ninth. Yeah.
It's not the Yankees bullpen, but they're
it's not the A's bullpen either.
So if we're gonna do numbers, I would see the Astros probably winning between 90 and 95 games.
Yeah, I can see that.
Angels between 90 and 95 games.
Ooh,
yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. I would say the Rangers in Seattle in the low 80s, and the A's.
65.
65, 70 wins, yeah.
I disagree with your Angels take. Everything else, I'm pretty. I don't think the Angels are going to be good. I think it's going to be Weak Sisters and the Astros. I think the Astros are going to clean up on the division. I think they're going to not do as good once the postseason starts. It's very hard to repeat. Everybody knows that, especially in baseball with such a long season, injuries and things like that, and trade pickups and deadline stuff. So I think that the Astros are going to win the division, not by default, because they have a very solid team, but they're going to win more games by default. So I think a 92 type of win season for them is on tap. I think everybody else is going to be under 500. The Angels, the Rangers, and the Mariners, not as bad as Oakland, but I don't think anybody else is going to be 81 wins in this division. I think you're going to look at 79, 80 wins.
Okay.
Mid-70s and then mid-60s for the Athletics. So basically it's Houston, And no wild card, I say. You say wild card possibilities for California, Anaheim, LA, or whatever they are?
Yeah, I think the 2 wild cards, one will come out of the East and one will come out of the West.
I definitely think the one's going to come out of the East. I don't know. I guess, so what was it?
I would say...
I would have to say a Central team then, and I beat up the Central too.
Yeah.
Can I just say one wild card because everybody else doesn't deserve it?
No, well, you could do 2 with the East if you think that...
Toronto kind of thing?
Toronto or Tampa or Baltimore comes back up.
Tampa. I don't know. I gotta think about that.
I think it's Boston Yankees toss up to see who wins that. Obviously, I hope the Yankees win the division.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's... I think in the Central, it's Cleveland's to win. And I think everybody else is just, chugging along. I believe that it's going to be Houston again with the Angels maybe making 2, 3, maybe 4 games behind them and getting the other wild card.
I think somebody from the Central is going to surprise this year. Not KC. I don't know. I could see like a team like Minnesota all of a sudden no name wins and sneak in as that second wild card and, just as a one and done. If I had all of the names in front of me, I probably would maybe not. But I think the Central definitely, Boston and the Yankees, the whoever doesn't win a division is going to make it the wild card,
right.
And then somebody else. I don't know. The Blue Jays might hang around for a little bit. I don't have a lot of faith in their staff, so I don't know. I think maybe a team like the Twins could surprise. They've all of a sudden out of nowhere could win games.
Right.
They've done that before, right? When the Yankees played them in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Twins weren't projected to make the postseason.
No.
So I'll say the Minnesota Twinkies.
Oh, look at that.
I like Target Field. I like outdoor stadiums.
Now, who do you have for your... I said Mookie Betts. Who do you have for your MVP?
MVP? I'm going to go with somebody on the New York Yankees. I'm not going to go Stanton, and I'm not going to go Aaron Judge. I can't go Sanchez because he's a one-way player. I think you need to be well-tooled, at least 4 tools, maybe 3.5. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say that Didi Gregorius. Didi Gregorius is going to have...
out on a limb.
He is going to have one of those years where he gets those at-bats like Jeter, where maybe the numbers, you look at them, and if you don't look at the games, you might say, But if you see it like Jeter's at-bats, always moved the runner, drove 2 out, men in scoring position, boom, RASP, bang, he's got a single. Boom, he moves the runners. He gets productive outs. I think a guy like Gregorius is perfect to do a job like that, plus has more power than a Jeter had. He's not, I'm not saying he's not Jeter, don't get me wrong. But I think he's good enough. He's coming into his own. Now he's got all of these huge sticks around him. I think Didi is going to take the MVP.
That is a bold statement, and if you're right...
And I'm a Met fan.
Oof.
I like some of these players on the Yankees. They're very likable. They're not guys that you root against, even though I'm not a Yankee fan.
Wow. That's a great call, if it happens.
That's it. He says Betts, I say Didi.
And for a quick, just the Cy Young?
Oh, Jesus Christ. David Price.
David Price? Okay, comes back in his
regular season, very good. Not as good in the postseason, so I'll give him the regular season. I was going to say Verlander, but I'll go with Price.
Okay. I think that he's going to have a rebound year. It wasn't the best year last year, but I could see Dallas Keuchel taking a...
He did have a little bit of a letdown last year. In the postseason, too. That's why they needed Justin Verlander, because their stud, Keuchel, who was like... Untouchable. I mean, especially against the Yankees in that wild card 2 years ago. Yeah. I mean, he just fucking blew them away.
I could see Keuchel having a 21 season and leading them back into the postseason.
The promised land.
Yes. So that's the AL. That's the junior circuit.
That is the junior circuit. We will be back in the next episode. I believe we're going to start with the National League West. Right, we're going to go backwards this time.
I have to prolong his pain as much as possible. We're going to talk about the West and then the Central, and then we'll get to the East, and then he gets to talk for hours about the Mets.
Well, you have to realize, though, I am a journalist, not a fanboy when I cover sports.
Okay, all right.
If I'm in my house watching a game on a Sunday afternoon, I fanboy. But if I'm talking to the camera, I call it like it is. But
we'll be making fun of fun of you tremendously about
You
that.
can.
Yes.
You can. I can take a joke. I can dish it out. I can also take it.
Well,
but
rest
that.
in peace, Ed Charles, as well.
Oh, yes. Yeah. The glider.
The glider.
Yes, the glider Ed Charles, former 69 Met, very well loved in New York City for his efforts during that championship season, which I was only 2 years old, so I don't recall it that much. But that's going to do it for us on this episode of A Shitload of Sports. For Keefus, this is Joe Pietaro, and thank you whoever was joining us who stuck around on the Instagram live feed. We will see you guys next time with the National League West.
Take care.